Welcome back. New Moon in Scorpio. New Moon in Scorpio is very transformative. It's very introspective, self introspective. And there is always some kind of reset, and it is not necessarily a gentle reset. So it's the kind of shift that happens deep inside us, and we don't usually go there unless life forcefully pushes us there. And Scorpio always has this inward pull, like away from the noise of this world and the chaos. And it gives us a chance to reconnect with who we truly are. So in modern world, we are constantly pushed into doing things that are not necessarily aligned with our principles, but the new moon brings us back to the center. uh, I mean, the center or the core of who we are. So it helps us ask, like, what is true for me, and what have I been carrying for too long? Is this really serving me, or is this really who I am? And that is where the transformation begins. The questioning ignites transformation, and the questioning ignites change. And when the sun is in Scorpio, and the moon joins it, the reset naturally happens. There is the seed that is being sown for reset, and it happens at an emotional level that basically stirs the emotions, and the reset happens at an emotional level. So for months, we may have understood things very logically, that we need to change or we need to leave something behind, but knowing is different from feeling. So this new moon brings this emotional release. Then this is where we actually let go, and once that happens, we do not go back to the old patterns, and the chapter that is over, it remains over. So many of those who have been carrying memories or hurt or emotional wounds that shaped us in ways that we did not realize, or situations or circumstances that pushed us to a corner and made us feel bad, or something that did not really help us feel comfortable, or something, all those things are going to disappear. It's not necessarily about healing. Obviously healing is there, but and it is also not because they disappear, but because they lose control over us. Like, we turn being this true stoics, where we don't let the external circumstances control us. So when the sun shines into hidden places, which basically is Scorpio, the heaviness burns away, and we come out with much more lighter heart, or maybe a clearer mind. Even if not lighter heart, clarity emerges. It may not be during the new moon, but quickly after the new moon, maybe a few days after the new moon. So there is this subtle clarity that unfolds after this new moon, and it may not necessarily come immediately, as I said. And Venus, Mars, and Jupiter are all kind of strong. Venus is in Libra, Mars is in Scorpio, Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. Although it is retrograde, it aspects this new moon. There is a beautiful trine with this new moon, and this new moon is basically a catalyst which creates intensity, but it is supported by Mars. Even though moon is debilitated in Scorpio, uh, there is emotional burden, or maybe there is too much of intensity, and it is supported by Mars. The moon is received by Mars, so there is reception, and Jupiter also aspects the moon by trine. So the emotion goes deep, but they also kind of push us forward rather than pulling us back, which is a very, very important thing. And Mercury goes direct soon after the new moon, so the month ahead becomes much smoother if we understand this. And Venus also enters Scorpio, which we'll talk about later on. But with the sun in Scorpio, we develop the ability to kind of cut through the layers of confusion and see things as they are. The sun brings light into places we usually avoid. So it is like that iconic moment in The Hobbit, when the last light of Durin's day falls on the hidden keyhole at Erebor, basically opening the gates to the halls of Erebor. For the longest time, nothing happens. Everything looks closed, and then the light touches the stone, and suddenly the doorway reveals itself. So it is sudden and clear and transformative, and this new moon works exactly like that. So something inside us clicks, a truth we did not see earlier, but it becomes obvious, and suddenly the pathway opens, which sets us up for Sun in Sagittarius after a month. So Epictetus says that no great thing is achieved suddenly. So transformation is not instant. So it's not a delivery that we expect instantly, but it is the realization that comes in a flash. But it's been in preparation for a very long time, very quietly. And this new moon is that kind of a flash or a trigger point where we suddenly see this inner doorway revealed to us. And there is one more thing we need to understand now, and that's the difference between isolation and solitude. Scorpio, or prominence of Scorpio, can make us feel isolated, but isolation is when the world kind of turns its back on us, and solitude is when we turn toward ourselves. And sometimes it is very lonely, but solitude is not lonely, isolation is lonely. So the solitude is basically awakening, and I think we need to find a way to transform isolation into solitude and then find some kind of an awakening, which pretty sure is possible when during the Scorpio season. And right now, even if everything feels quiet and nothing seems to be kind of moving ahead, no one really understands what we are going through, but still we are moving forward because there is insight that we are gaining, and insight is walking with us. So when something pulls inward, it's not punishment, but I think it is preparation. It is the inner preparation. We may be prepared mentally, we may be prepared resourcefully, but I think the inner self needs a separate amount of preparation, and the real insight arrives in those very, very quiet, self-reflective moments. So the real transformation begins when we stop running from ourselves, and Scorpio's new moon is helping us find our own authentic deep self that's been kind of hidden for a very long time. So solitude here becomes sacred. It's the doorway through which clarity enters, and suddenly we meet the version of ourselves that we've been waiting to become. And it's a gift that this new moon is particularly bringing because of action and introspection all that's lying on both the sides. So it basically pulls us into this depth from where we can rise lighter, clearer, and completely renewed.